Hello everyone, I'm Delay and welcome to a new episode of 999. I'm just recording this right after the previous one, so I'm still on the same screen. And yeah, let's continue. Just wait a sec, let me just fix this cable. It's kind of tugging. Okay, let's continue. They left the operating room. The hallway took them around several corners and past several doors, but they were all locked.
Here too, huh? Every door in this place is locked up tight.
How about that one?
The final door was hidden in a corner of the hall.
May as well give it a try.
Junpei grabbed the handle. As he made to push it open, a voice stopped him. The voice came from behind him and belonged to neither Seven nor Clover.
Jumpy!
Oh, okay, I see.
Huh?
He spun around. He saw someone running toward him from the other end of the hallway. There were three people coming toward Junpei and his companions.
June? And Santa? And Lotus too?
They pulled up short in front of Junpei, breathing hard.
Whoa! What the hell is this?
What are you doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys! Could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Look on the wall here.
There was something on the wall at the end of the hallway.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact,
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. That's how the nonary game works.
I see.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again. Is there any way we can
Wait a
get back
sec.
to Ace? I wonder. I don't know. Where's Ace anyway? He's like on the right side, right? With all those rectangles. They are probably the beds, so... yeah, I think there might be a way to get back to Ace. If the door opens from this side.
Hey, could this lead to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh!
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
Yeah.
They moved as one for the door.
almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled the map of the ship's interior off the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke, without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
Slowly, all 5 nodded their silent assents. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
We're back. In the hospital room.
Where is
I
Ace?
see.
Oh,
I believe I understand what you're saying. The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory.
so they didn't find a body this time. So Snake might be alive in this timeline?
And then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
He looked like anyone might after only just waking up. But it seemed that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism. I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
Seven smiled.
Anyway, I say we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Right, Junpei?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
Oh, the solar system keys. We found a couple more in the laboratory in the kitchen. Here, the Earth key and the Saturn key card.
And with that, she pressed them into Junpei's hand. The metal key had the Earth symbol on it, and the key card had the Saturn symbol on it.
I might lose it. It's probably better if you hold on to it.
Yeah,
That way it won't be my fault if it gets lost.
yeah, you have like almost no clothing. You don't have anywhere to put it.
Yeah. On it.
I guess the most safe place would be 7 because you know he has that thing on his chest with that's I don't know what you call it with that thing you used to steal it or shut it. Junpei felt slightly less than honored.
Now we have 3 keys that we haven't used yet.
Yeah. The Jupiter key that we found in the operating room. The Earth key that Lotus just gave me. And the Saturn key card that Lotus said was in the kitchen.
Junpei tucked the new keys into his pocket. Jun spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs,
Wait!
They were the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point.
Wait. Did we go to the laboratory in my last playthrough? I don't know. Did we go to door 3 or door 8 or something? I don't know. And did we go to the laboratory or something else? I don't actually remember. Like, we did go to a place that kind of looked like a laboratory with Clover, but I don't remember if it actually was a laboratory. I guess it was, yeah. So I guess I didn't see door 3 yet.
At least there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at Seven as hard as she could, just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There was a man alive who could have resisted those eyes, and fuck shit. I guess that means... That might mean Snake's body is in door 3, fuck. Seven looked everywhere in the room except at Clover, and muttered an end and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again. So, Seven, you'll help me, won't you?
Huh? Me?
Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus... 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. It looked like 7 was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Damn. Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
Alright, let's get moving.
And so it was decided that Clover, Ace, and Seven would discover what lay beyond door 3.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
Of course. Seven nodded as the answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on Red.
Okay, we're off.
The door opened and Ace, Clover, and Seven jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
All right, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving.
Where are we going?
Everyone except Lotus seemed rather confused.
Well, it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it? Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
They were at the end of the hallway, lined by individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
All right, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Oh, we are here again. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase. Or maybe this might be a different place, I don't know. Everywhere just seems very similar in this ship.
Great, back to the beginning.
Oh.
You sure this is a good idea?
Okay, I was right the first time.
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Of course there's a reason Snake might be here.
Of course there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled two things out of his pockets. I guess those doors might be here as well. I don't remember that far back because I started playing this game like a year ago, maybe even more.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Santa cocked his head to one side like an inquisitive bird and looked at them. After several long moments, during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So
Sorry.
the two keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck. Huh.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
All right, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into two teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you two can search Saturn, all right?
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these. So don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
Plan decided okay, I'm sorry. Plan decided the two teams split it up. Junpei and June headed for the elevators. Oh, we are alone. We are alone again. Nice.
There's a card reader next to the left elevator.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
A light on the upper left corner blinked to life.
Great! It looks like it's working now.
All right, now how do I call the elevator?
There is a single button to the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button. Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
It opened! Look, Jumpy!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
He grinned at June and stepped toward the open door. I guess this is going to be the same talk about the lower floor being filled with water and stuff. As he was about to set foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of... They could only go down. Being locked up alone with a boy. I guess I should choose the other option to see what happens. After a little thought, Junpei decided that she had to be nervous about being locked up in such a small space alone with a boy.
Well, we will be all alone in here.
In a way, it was kind of cute. Very demure, you could say, he thought. Still, even though it wasn't exactly roomy in the elevator, they weren't going to be pressed up against one another. At least they didn't have to be. Still, it was making her nervous. Junpei couldn't help but think how innocent she was. But that's not it at all, she's just afraid of the water.
Jumpy?
Huh? Oh, nothing. It's not important. Come on, let's go.
Again, he stepped toward the elevator. Also, Junpei is kinda creepy. And again, he felt himself restrained.
I said wait a minute.
Why?
Aren't you afraid, Jumpy?
Afraid of what?
Well, I've never, you know.
It's your first time?
She'd never been in an elevator with a man alone before. Even so, she still seemed awfully alarmed.
I might get wet.
Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, Junpei, please don't say anything, Junpei, please.
What?
Down there. I'd get soaking wet.
Come on.
Well, I mean, of course you would. That's the way it works. I mean, I've never heard of anyone getting soaking wet somewhere else.
That's true. You don't mind
Mind what?
getting wet?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, I think this is different. I don't remember this. Or maybe we did see this and I'm just dumb.
I think I'd probably, like it.
Gosh, Jumpy, you're so brave.
Really? I mean, I kind of think any guy would do the same thing, you know?
What happens, happens, right? I mean, if you get the chance, you just gotta go for it. That's what a man is supposed to do. I guess.
Oh, come on, please say say it already. I don't want to see this anymore.
You're so cool, Jumpy. I really admire you.
That doesn't really seem like the sort of thing you ought to admire someone for.
I'm really scared.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you've never done it before.
Yes. So, I don't think I'll be able to last very long. And then it'll be...
You should see my face right now. Come on, why?
Over?
Yes. We'll go to heaven.
Heaven?
It feels kind of like you're floating in space, and your mind gets all fuzzy, like when you pass out. At least that's what I've heard from people who have experienced it.
Yes, I've heard that too.
Okay, this is getting ridiculous at this point. Please just
Although I don't think the same thing happens to guys.
please just get it over with.
What?
Huh?
But it would happen to men too, wouldn't it? It would happen to anyone. Once it gets into your body, the same thing happens to everyone.
Well, I mean, usually it doesn't go inside the man. I mean, generally.
Yes, it does. Well, eventually it will. It's not like you really have a choice. Your body will force you to swallow some of it. Eventually.
What are you trying to do to me?
Nothing. I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm just saying that that's what happens. It's a psychological reaction to what you're experiencing.
Oh, is that so?
Come on. Then so natural? Is that what's natural for living beings? Perhaps he'd been mistaken all these years. Had he misunderstood life so gravely? This thought terrified him. Jun seemed to be entirely oblivious to Junpei's mounting confusion and terror.
I know most men probably have larger lungs, but even then, I don't think you could hold your breath for 20 or even 10 minutes. Eventually, you'd have to breathe, and then the water would get into your lungs. Once that happens, your body won't be able to get oxygen anymore, and you'll start to feel that floaty feeling as you pass out.
Oh.
You finally realize, you fucking idiot, Junpei. I hate you, Junpei. Please don't act like this again. Finally, Junpei understood. He understood what Jun was trying to say and why she was so scared.
Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't last very long.
See?
That laugh at the end, like... She was afraid that the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D deck, is completely underwater. An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise, like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C. All right, I'll push E.
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
I think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest just a little bit. Junpei, I don't think you had the right to puff out your chest after that giant misunderstanding. Jun, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean? How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk?
Yeah, I think we've seen this before on the previous playthrough.
The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, alright?
But...
Come on, just do it, alright?
He gave Jun's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped onto the elevator. He pushed the button. I should probably read like button, not button. It kinda sounds weird. He pushed the E button, and the door began to close. Jun looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
I'm coming with you!
Huh?
At the last possible moment, Jun dashed forward, turned sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap, it closed!
The door had shut. He and Jun were in the elevator, and it was headed down to E deck. He was so surprised by Jun that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Ah, jeez.
The elevator stopped, and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish, or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded. Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
I'm just imagining her like, ooh. June looks around nervously, then exhales.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
Junpei thought about that for a moment.
Well, we'd probably get really wet up there.
Huh?
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay,
Yeah,
good
true.
idea.
You wasted so much time there talking about being weighted and getting a heavenly feeling.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room and they found. Junpei glanced around the room they found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe...
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening.
Well,
He walked up to it, stuck his head around the corner,
it looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
and found door 6.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and Jun set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. That seems very much like a run, from the sound of it. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
And indeed, there was a red bolted on the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and Jun turned and headed back to C deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me. Huh, so you guys found door 1.
They'd met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that their Earth key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors, the 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with large pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
Great, I have to go with fucking Lotus again. 8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1.
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Lotus' words were all the impetus? I don't know what that means or how it's pronounced. All the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. Ah, my right eye is kinda aching for some reason. Even though I haven't been looking at screens for that long today, but for some reason it kinda hurts. I hope it goes away soon. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was Seven.
7?
Oh, there's that. I guess they found Snake's remains. Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. Seven had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at Seven.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
Seven was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him. Hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
Seven couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, and closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead. He died, just as the 9th man did.
It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel a cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white.
Oh my god. That's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right.
We should they nod to one another and head for the door.
Wait! Not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short and turned to look at Seven. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Where is he?
The shower room. Left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left wall.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as Seven had said, there is a broom stuck between the door and the frame keeping it open. I think the last time I didn't have novel mode when looking at this, so it's going to be some very grotesque descriptions again, fuck.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat, to pound against the entrance to his stomach. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the spatter reaching toward them as they walked through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hands on her shoulder as to show her into the ground like a tadpole, turned and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh, torn from the body, sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great Red Sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and became stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as the gravity pulled them down the wall even as they dried to it.
Just like Ace said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was already done some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh God. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
Oh, fuck.
It's definitely an open fracture.
His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. Or ulna. I don't know how to read that. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, can't even tell who it is.
You can't even tell who it is, huh? Maybe that's just metaphorical, maybe they can tell it's Snake, but... maybe it's not Snake, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like a rough pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping and the grey slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. Oh, yeah, that was way more intense with all that extra description there. The scale of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise of a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time, it put him on edge. It didn't help there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
Seven lowered his voice, like in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them, in turn, and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3.
Let me just do this, and then do this. To maybe get a better picture for a thumbnail or something. But I don't know if I'm going to use this on thumbnail because it might be a little bit of a spoiler. We'll see. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3.
Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake, but he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door, and then 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
June seems shocked.
Can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
No, 2 of us is the killer.
No, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven?
Wait. Wouldn't the other 2 people die as well if they just shove in someone, you know? Like, they have to go put their hands on dead as well, right? Or their bombs will explode as well. So how can there be killers if that's the case? They should the killer should be dead if they, you know, if they left Snake alone. Then the other 2 people should die as well, right?
What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
Or am I getting this wrong? Does the game not work that way? Maybe the bombs don't start activating until you go inside or something, I don't know. If that's the case, then yeah, there could be killers.
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself. If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero.
Yeah, if what I'm saying is correct, then it could only be Zero or someone working for Zero, right?
He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei, was Zero still on the ship with them? I chose, of course, last time, so I guess I'll choose Junpei wasn't sure this time. He wasn't sure.
Something's still strange.
What was that?
Well, I'm just wondering about one thing.
And what's that?
How can you be so sure that Zero's on this ship?
Ace's eyebrows, shut up.
Really, Junpei? I confess I'm a little disappointed. Usually you're rather sharp. Isn't it obvious?
Wait, it is?
This ship.
Huh?
Zero said, "this ship," several times when he addressed us. If he weren't here, he wouldn't say this ship, would he? He'd be saying something like, that ship, or the ship.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Ace's explanation made perfect sense. Junpei felt a little foolish that he hadn't seen it himself. Still, he was left with a question. It was one of no small importance. I guess, by the way, this explanation probably makes more sense in Japanese, because I think in Japanese you have different words for what you are talking about. Like, if something is close, you say something, and if something is far away, you say something else. So, in Japanese, if Zero said a specific thing, then that would probably imply that Zero was close to the ship or in the ship when talking about it. I think that was Kono. I might be wrong, but I think it was Kono. Kono should mean like in my vicinity or something, I don't know. So I guess, yeah, that explanation probably makes more sense in Japanese.
If Zero's on the ship, where is he?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back around his throat. Again, he heard the ghostly moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Also interesting how on those panning shots, June was the only one alive. Foreshadowing maybe? I don't know. We'll see. I started from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? I guess let's choose That's Crazy this time.
That's crazy. Isn't the ship going to sink in a few hours? If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive.
Cole looked up at Junpei and her face fell.
You don't believe me.
No, that's not what I wanted to say. Her eyes were so pitiful. The moment Junpei's met them, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think what he said was wrong. But perhaps the way he'd said it had been. He'd been totally insensitive. Flora had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she also seen the blasted wreck of his body. Junpei barely knew him, and the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, he couldn't even begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been in, it was understandable that she would look at those around her with suspicion. She felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try and understand what she was feeling. He felt ashamed of what he had said. Perhaps he thought I should apologize. A further apology could begin.
Clover,
Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel that you can trust any of us.
Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. As he spoke to Clover, his face was calm and friendly.
But you have to understand, the more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap. Zero was the one who did those horrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing?
Clover didn't answer. She didn't even look at Ace. The whole time, her eyes were on Junpei. He could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. They're the color of a deep winter lake. Junpei saw no suspicion in them, only sadness. Then, in that horrible silence... Fuck. How many hours do we have left? They heard the bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
Then we need to move now. 7. Clover, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
7 and Clover remained silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
Our next destination is Mercury.
Or maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
All right, let's go, June.
Right.
So we're alone
Here it
again,
is.
huh? It sat, bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen between the two elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah,
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think 7 said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the reader turned green and made a tiny electronic noise.
I guess the elevator works now.
Jumpy, I know it's only the two of us, but let's do our best.
What's with you all of a sudden?
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
Oh,
I'm kind of suspicious of that, but I don't know, maybe she's just fine, I don't know. It just seems so suspicious to me, everything about her for some reason. I don't know.
First, we need to find out if the elevator.
Maybe
comes
I'm a
up full
terrible
of water.
friend.
Just like we did before.
Like, she seems too good to be true. Like, she seems too innocent. I feel like she has
Oh, here it
something.
is.
She probably has something, you know, some kind of secrets or something, I don't know. Like, Clover turned out to be kinda crazy. Well, not crazy, but she turned out to be someone who could go crazy given the right situation.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
So, same thing might happen to June as well, and I'm scared. I really hope I'm wrong, but yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Once standing shocked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
Look! Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the seat and bottom button can be pushed.
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
Yeah. Well, let's try it out.
Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw that the hallway to the right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end.
Hey, over there.
Oh, it's a two-door
This is
again.
a numbered door.
This is the 8th one we found.
So there are still 3 doors we haven't gone in, and we have 3 hours left. That's kind of worrying.
There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room. Doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck. It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1. And now, door 2 stood in front of Junpei, so the only one left is door 9.
That means...
Do you think the next door we find?
Yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei... What? Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. What does that mean? There was something about the excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah,
You don't look very happy about it, though.
it's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
Let's head back.
Okay.
It is best to put it from his mind and head back to C deck with June. It's been 54 minutes, so I think I'll just end this episode here. Let me just save again. Okay, yeah. I'm ending this episode here. So, see you guys in next one. Bye.